yeah, East 7, Celceta, and 8, all the games in this style are on Steam. East 1, 2, Velgana, Origin, and 6, Napishtem are all on here, so every game except for 5 in the chronology is on Steam. This one's currently only on Vita and PC right now, but Xseed is a very small company and they do great work regardless, so...
Hold on.
Alright, hopefully this mob goes a little better. The idea is to kind of see if you can't group these balls up. That was really good. I saved a couple seconds. Okay. That was also decent. Now, for anyone wondering why the name Hugo carries a warning in my stream, it's kind of more like a streaming joke at this point, but there's a character in East Origin, which is a game that you have 3 playable characters in, and his name is Hugo, and he is very, very bland to play as.
Oh boy.
Like, you don't, there's literally nothing to stop you from just having a turbo button held down the entire run to spam his attack button, and you would be no worse for wear to do so.
Leave it to me.
And he's just not a very likable character. It's like his skill set's not fun. He's not fast. There's nothing fast about him that separates him from either of the other 2 characters.
Leave it to me.
Yeah, he's the mage type. Oh my god, why? What? Okay. My freaking controller. Micro USB cable is kind of nearing the end of its life here. You would do one more attack so I can get a flash guarded skill here. The optimal combo is attack, attack, skill, attack, attack, skill. Adol's default skill, Rising Slash, is the most consistently strong skill for damage output per second.
Hold on.
Fine, I'll roll with this. No pun intended. So, basically what we're doing at this point in the story is trying to map out the region of Celceta because the Governor General of this town really wants us to, and pay us mightily if we do so. We're never going to actually get paid in the run, but if you do talk to her in a casual playthrough, she pays you a lot. Yes, the split is called memes, because the skip is really dumb. Also, the reason there's a whole bunch of random voice clips is those are supposed to be synced to the cutscenes, but in Turbo they just kind of all come at once. The Turbo is a PC added feature to just make cutscenes go stupid fast. I don't think they had a way to skip them like Ys 8 does, but that's mostly because this game has these like forced dialogue options. I don't agree that this is the best track in this game, but there's so many good ones that it's like it'd be hard pressed to name what is the best one. So if you find it the best one, that is completely acceptable. Dang, I'm usually like 5:45 coming into this part.
All right.
Yeah. That Thunder Tower is going to be important for later. Glorious Chekhov. So I run to the edge of the river there because that saves a little bit of time. Because you roll faster than you swim. One kind of sticky thing with my movement in this run, just in general, is I keep my eye on the minimap, so occasionally I bump into something that's not marked on the minimap, or I just make a slightly wrong and suboptimal direction. A lot of running this game is an art, not a science.
This thing?
Come on, punch me. Punch me. Need to steer clear of the plant, because it hits me really, really hard but can paralyze me, which is what I don't want. So quick note about out of bounds in this game, by the way. If there's no water underneath you, you will fall until you hit a kill plane. Because I think the developers probably found that there is a way to get out of bounds and they weren't sure how to patch it. So they ultimately ended up with ended up giving you a kill plane that if you were to clip out of bounds and just fall to your death, you wouldn't be completely soft locked. All of those skips work on Vita as well. The only skip that doesn't work on Vita is the one relating to chain flash guarding. And one skip that is used for New Game Plus is also PC only.
Yeah.
But as I demonstrated, you actually will not fall if there is water, because water extends all the way from wherever it is on the Z-axis to the kill plane, and you naturally float upwards. How does New Game Plus work in this game? Casually or as a speed run? Because casually, it's just you take your levels, weapons, etc. Standard New Game Plus fanfare. For the speed run, they added a boss rush feature, and the boss rush feature you exploit to skip to the end of the game. Basically, you use an arcade mode setting, like the kind of thing that you just do for fun in the background. skip to the end of the game. I can demonstrate it if this run, whenever this run ends. I kind of always send off my streams of this game with a New Game Plus Nightmare run. There we go. It'd be a royal pain in the butt to get that chest. Kind of nice thing with this game is every character has a purpose. Ozma doesn't have much, but every other character that we get after him is very useful. If only because when you get new characters, they usually come at a base level rather than like adjusting based on your level. So if you get a character at like level, say, 11 right now, like Karna is, that vastly outperforms my other two who are at level 3. They see me rolling. Dustin McDowell. Is that a Suikoden reference? I've learned parts of East 1, but I don't actually run it. Not yet. I mean, I also have a pal who goes by the name of Stolperheim, so I picked up on my Suikoden references. Although the only game I've beaten was I recently, as of like a couple days ago, finished Suikoden 2. I can't call myself a fan. I have a lot of grievances with the game, but I did enjoy the story for what it was worth.
Let's go.
I'm kind of just an old school RPG junkie in some ways. Although, when I say old school, I mean like PS1, PS2 era. Not so much SNES, even if Final Fantasy VI is one of my personal favorite RPGs, despite having a very long story with that game of how much it hates me. I give a brief warning to any arachnophobes in chat. This dungeon is full of spiders. Of course, and I'm an apophobe who is terrified of bees and other similar things. So for me, it's a little bit more cathartic than anything else. Also, the bees look just different enough that I don't have to worry about it, but it's not to say the same for all video games. I have had an instance where there was a bee in a video game that I literally needed a friend's help with beating because I couldn't actually stay focused on what I was doing. Also, this dungeon theme is great. I love how it sounds like there's a slap bass. Alrighty, come on, bee. Okay, so there's the wall. I want to stand away from the wall and kind of up against him. Okay, I got right next to the wall. That should be enough. Nope. Okay, that's bad. Come on, you stupid bee. Huh? That should be enough. Darn. My last run that actually got out this far had pretty good bees.
Let's go.
Ideally, I have myself a line that I only have to hold down.
My turn.
Yeah, stupid bees. So one thing I actually haven't touched on, though, you don't notice it quite yet, but it will come into play later, and it will actually be part of why the PC version is so busted.
Let's go.
Once I do this again. I actually got it. Okay, second try is not bad. So if you exit a boss before defeating the boss, the game sort of sets cutscenes to what is basically like boss mode, which means any screen where there is a forced encounter that you cannot escape from, the game initiates boss mode whenever you initiate a fight. If you're ever to leave this, it will stay until the very next time that you defeat a boss or any forced encounter. What this means, due to this game, the way this game kind of tracks story triggers, is next time you enter a room that has a boss fight, the boss fight will immediately happen. In this case, it's not going to be too big a deal because the next boss I fight is the boss of Underground Ruins. Which means as soon as I enter his room, the boss fight will start. Normally you have to walk up to the center platform before that happens, so it saves a very small amount of time there. But the bee happens to be one of the easiest ways to re-trigger a boss fight and exit a boss fight.
Come on. No way. Leave it to me. Mine.
And because of that, we will be using them later. So that's why there's a not the bees times 3 split down at the bottom. Anyways, at this village they have these kind of ostrich dinosaur looking thingies. They're called Spartas, and the babies are adorable, and I would totally use a plush of one if I could.
No.
This game's a little too obscure for that.
Leave it to me.
Alrighty, have a good night, Keith Paladin.
At all.
So right here is the only time where dialogue options matter in the run. I have to pick the bottom option each time.
Hold on. No.
Hold on. No. once again, just despawning characters and respawning. Thanks, Ash Dragon. Kind of need to get better about just doing that for casual streams. I tend to do it when somebody gives a raid, just on account of catching people up who aren't, you know, regulars, but nonetheless, I appreciate it.
Leave it to me. Just leave it to me.
Alright, Durin is the highest elevation, so I should just keep him. Yeah, so this loading zone, I kind of have to find it in the dark. There we go. On the plus side, resetting isn't too bad, because it means we get to hear more of this dungeon's awesome music, which unfortunately my sound card does not properly... doesn't stream the best. Okay, Durin is higher elevation, so he's the character I want to be right now. So I need to be able to dive underwater normally, but I skipped a dungeon that has the accessory that lets me do that, so out of bounds it is. Probably going to stream Octopath tonight. I've recently learned the route for Cyrus in that game. Mostly a game I run as an excuse to listen to the music, but also I have another reason I wanted to learn it. That said, the kind of drive to do a reroute inspired me. Oops, I'm doing this all wrong. Perfect luck, I would get napalm shot as soon as I kill that first mob. It's actually random when I pick up a skill. Like, there's some things that determine it, like based on story progress, you can learn certain skills, certain levels. It's actually really nice that the PC version has over the Vita version is when the character quick swap, I can find a different button to quick swap backwards in the order, whereas the PS Vita version only has a button to do forward in the order, which means I have to press 3 times to get back to the original character. Now we're at the level we want to be. Oh, my characters are still set to passive. That's bad. Switch characters between active and passive. You want them on active almost the entire run. There's a couple of advantages to having them not on active. Okay, I should be good. My very underleveled characters are rapidly picking up skills. Okay, I'm gonna heal that all a little bit here. I use the extra skill as fast as I can here because if I use it later, I might not have a second one when I want one. Actually, there's a lot of skills that you can pick up, and a lot of them are really fun to use, but I kind of limit myself to just the ones that I know are optimal. I don't really use anything else for the speedrun. So that should bring him down. Okay, I haven't actually taken hits. Really good. Alright, this is about as late as I can use this on his first phase. He's going to go into his second phase here shortly. Now, this part's really annoying because his weak spot's kind of standing up and he only sometimes goes down. Okay, this is what I wanted to do. Oh, that's bad. Well, I can finish the fight, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, losing out on levels there for Adol is unfortunate, but he's not going to be doing much combat for a long time, so it's this is doable. And we get a nice vat of gold because of all the stuff that I've skipped in this split. And just a decent fight in general. I messed up my character swaps, so that was the reason for the time loss. So coming up is the town of Highland, which, as soon as you enter this town, normally there's like a 10-minute scenario where you have to kind of... You find out that the village thought that Adol was dead and buried some of his possessions as sort of like a tribute to him. And then you go back to his grave and you find out that his possessions have been stolen. And on his person there is something called the Mask of the Sun, which is sort of this game's powerful MacGuffin. But this whole thing just takes like 10 minutes, and thankfully, because we did everything out of order, all intended... Oops, I'm going to buy one of these just for safety. And then just a metric ton of healing. So normally they don't let you out through this north passage here. You have to do a whole bunch of stuff before the village... Basically before the village turns to night and everyone's asleep, so nobody stops you.
Stay alert!
So we just skipped doing all that because the previous cutscenes that haven't loaded are kind of necessary in this game's story sequencing. Meaning that if you stop doing things in the order intended, everything afterwards will not load. Until you get to a memory, which for whatever reason resets it. And this cutscene initiates a memory regardless, so this cutscene sets the story progress back to where it needs to be. Which is important because I'm supposed to get my next character right after this. As she allows me to progress through the stuff. Otherwise I would just get struck by lightning, and... Well, if we've played Final Fantasy X, you know how that goes. So yeah, this is the part that brings back all those nasty Final Fantasy X flashbacks. Man, I golded that and split by a ton. Alright.
Leave it to me.
So I'm going to attempt another skip right now. I listen for that lightning strike because I can hit this loading zone without having to light the following two lightning rods.
My turn.
The reason you see me switch to Durin and switch back to Kalilika, who is the pink-haired girl, is because she has the lowest dodge roll speed in the game, and he has the highest. So I want to be playing as her as little as possible outside of combat, and whenever I need her. And yes, if you haven't noticed, you can in fact take Adol out of the party in this game. He's not going to be out for very long. It's just to minimize menuing that we have him out. Because we're not going to be doing any fighting in this dungeon.
Way too tough. Tear back.
My turn.
This dungeon also has really good music. So, I'm gonna attempt another little skip here. Once I load up memories,
1, 2.
it sets enemies to a default position, which in this case allows me to have a few frames where I don't have enemy aggro, and as soon as I close the menu I can just hit the switch by mashing triangle and get it every time.
My turn.
Tear back.
Adol's a pretty face, but he is a mean sword fighter if you give him the right stuff, which we will.
Tear back.
He's going to be in the party for basically the entire game, and the main reason for that is I need him to get levels, because he fights the final 2 fights by himself, pretty much.
Leave it to me.
Or he carries the second to last fight, and then literally does the last fight of the game by himself.
Here I go. 1, 2.
My turn.
Yeah, the status effect sucks. I didn't really explain Heavy very well earlier. Heavy is a status effect that makes you move really slowly and you fall really fast. You don't have a jump button in this game, but it does matter when you're trying to use the height storage skip. There's a healer bot in the last fight too. There's no healers in this game, everyone just does damage. This right here is just a piece of armor that gives my characters a chance to inflict status effects, which will matter in the next fight that I actually do. But it's also just good defensively in general. Alright, so get ready for more Final Fantasy X lightning dodges. Except these dodges will be performed by buffering saves. Ah, I pressed the circle button. Three strikes? That sucks. I've gotten this without getting struck, but it's kind of random. 4, that's really bad. There we go.
Give it to me.
Alright, So this area I'm not supposed to get to until after I've cleared the Thunder Tower. But we're gonna set up a shortcut here. Okay, I only lost a little bit of time. That's not bad. Alright, so now we're gonna work back to the midpoint of the tower. And this sets me up for another exploitation of boss triggers. So we're gonna re-equip everything. He does, but we're not gonna be dodge rolling much anymore. Oh, at that part, it's minimal enough that it didn't matter for that one particular screen. Alright, so since we just came in from the screen outside of the tower to that, instead of getting the retry screen, dying there will just take us right out, and the game will treat it as if I'm still in a boss fight. Okay, I really want Gravity Sphere on Kalilica right now. And that skill is really good because it pulls enemies together. And I'm going to use her finisher to do a bunch of damage, but also bring these guys out. This is another area where the reroute that I did today really helped. These guys will do tons of damage, and I kind of want to keep myself from dying as Kalilica here. Because she does the most damage out of anyone in my party. Kind of heal scumming is a very, very consistent way to do this fight. I used to grab an extra weapon and kind of just kite around as Karna.
Leave it to me.
So this is the main bad guy of the game. We haven't seen him yet because we skipped every cutscene he's in. And this is his posse. And they're out looking for the mask, but since the mask went missing, they're kind of desperate in the hunt for it because it allows them to access to this game's final dungeon, which contains records of ancient information. So most importantly in that cutscene we get the Golden Wing, which allows me to teleport anywhere from anywhere. It used to be I can only teleport between like-colored monuments. Yes, Rainbow Splits are best of splits. This fight just kind of sucks. I really want to get behind these nodes that I have to hit. Alright, get ready for the best accessory in any video game of all time. Open the chest. There we go. These are Gale shoes. They're fast. Very, very fast. So, yeah, for the last third of this game, we have an accessory that's kind of meant to be more of a dungeon clearing item, but ends up being the fastest form of movement. It's... Yeah, there's a reason I named the split Gotta Go Fast. Room is another appropriate alternative. So this being right there, his name is Eldeal. He is a ancient being that has kind of ascended to godhood. And he's kind of the one guarding the Thunder Tower and the reason why it's perpetually guarded by lightning. Most importantly, he's the one responsible for Adol losing his memories at the beginning of the game. We're only going to see him in cutscenes. You do fight him as a boss fight, but that fight gets skipped in the speedrun. Another thing that also gets skipped is pretty much everything that tells you about him. One of the areas where this game actually deviates from the original Ys 4 is that Eldeal is the final boss fight of that run, of that game, and he dies at the end. It's a little different in this game. Anyways, so we are greeted by this villager named Frida at this village called Danen. This is where Durin is actually from. And they have the Mask of the Sun. Frida is going to be our last party member, and she's also my personal favorite to actually... she's probably tied for my favorite character to play as, but she's also tied for my favorite character in this game, just on account of she wields my favorite type of weapon, which is a halberd. It's as early as we can make it, to be honest. I don't know of any way we can get it any earlier. We've already found it, basically. Okay, I'm gonna Hurricane Spin and Demonic Edge. She has a plus 10% strength bonus still, which is really, really useful. She's the only one with a strength buff in the game. And her finisher hits twice, which is really, really nice. Whether or not I get a good Sol Galva is determined largely by how many times she knocks me away. That was a good fight. Yeah, it's not a spear, it's an axe on a very long stick. It is my favorite type of weapon. It usually also has a bayonet at the end of it. They're a little unwieldy, but they're really freaking cool. Alright, so this girl, her name is Lisa, she's Kalilica's friend. She's also the absolute worst character of this game, and there's not even a contest. Because she is the one responsible for basically unwittingly freeing the Mask of the Sun and giving it to the final boss of the game. And we absolutely do not want him to have that, because if he has access to the ancient records, he can kind of rewrite history. This is one of two instances in the entire playthrough of the game where we will use Frida's overworld action. But that's also one of the two reasons we get her. Yeah, that's not the only reason we dislike her. More on that later. I mean, it's an RPG. Enemies take as long as the player lets them.
Leave it to me.
Leave it to me.
I adjusted the window of the game. I made a mistake there running through the swamp. so right here I'm taking a detour because this area that I'm going to is blocked off, but it is where I need to go next. And I will get an accessory in the next boss fight that lets me get through here.
Let's go.
So it's faster to set that warp point now than it is to run all the way here later. There's a whole lot of minor movement optimizations that I never actually get into with the run. Sorry, I felt like I was going to burp or something. There's a lot of minor movement optimizations I couldn't even begin to explain. You just kind of have to get a feel for it when you run this game. But, yeah, this game's a lot of fun to run. Even this mid-section here, which was my least favorite part of the run back when it was like 3 hours, is a lot faster on this version now. So here I'm going to switch over to Frida because she has the second fastest roll in the game, very slightly slower than Direct. I guess blue-haired people just roll fast. Okay. This puzzle right here involves using the mouse. I've never seen that happen. It's just a very basic weight puzzle. You can do it with a controller, but that's slow. Alright, so this boss is an ass. So I'm gonna strength bonus and then use her finisher skill to kill all the mobs at once. I missed one. Now, this boss is really silly. He is like perpetually stunned by my hurricane spin, so I really want my allies to pick up to learn a new skill. Or get as many flashcards as I can. Because if my allies pick up a skill, or if I do a flashcard, I get a restoration of SP. There we go. So now I should basically have him locked down. Yeah, go ahead and post your OS frogs. If I get knocked down. I got pulled aside. This was not a great fight, but we didn't lose too much time.
Leave it to me.
So this will let me break through those coral rocks back at the Forest of Spores. Well, not at the Forest of Spores, wherever the heck the name of the area that I was just at. Oh, it is Forest of Spores. Okay. Anyways, I want to be running as Karna as much as I can because she is the fastest sprinter in the game. Really want to avoid these sausage-looking monsters. I call them something worse sometimes when I feel like it. They will yell at me for running too fast. Slow down, you kids. Alright, so coming up immediately on the very next boss, which is this weird guy. So this boss is just dumb because my allies will kind of target the little mini things on the side that heal him, which is really bad. When they're doing that, they're not doing precious damage to the boss. Now, allies in this game, when they're not controlled by the player, only do about 40% their max damage output, but it does add up. So now he's going to initiate his second phase, which is a royal pain in the butt, because he's going to start stampeding around. Oh god, that's bad. This should hopefully kill. Okay, it didn't. Alright, then he gets tired out. Mediocre boss fight. Would have liked to kill him faster and not had to heal, but I did have the backup option in case I needed it. Alright. So the next area is Colonial Battlefield. It's an ancient battlefield where long past residents of this kingdom kind of brutally murdered each other, yada yada yada. So upcoming would be the ancient capital city of this region. Just the areas that we're at are like the prehistory parts of the region of Celceta. But I don't want to enter there just yet, because that whole section initiates a scenario where the final boss shows up, cleans my clock, whatever the term is, and then we have to go through 2 more dungeons to piece together the opposite powerful MacGuffin, which is the Mask of the Moon, to even get into the final dungeon. And then we have to go to this ancient laboratory that we're going to be heading to right now in order to fix it. Now, the thing about the next dungeon is I'm not supposed to enter it until I've cleared both 2 dungeons that are supposed to come after. However, the reason it's locked is because there's a giant enemy guarding the way, and I have to kill it, which I don't get the means to do that until I clear these dungeons. But if I don't have to kill him, then it doesn't really matter. So by chaining together several flash guards, I get just enough height that I can skip straight into this dungeon, skipping 2 dungeons, and probably the most frustrating part of this dungeon as well. So remember earlier I mentioned Lisa, the blonde-haired girl, who kind of sort of controls, but not really, Sol Galba. She's supposed to be in here, and Sol Galba kind of freaks out and loses self-control. And she asks us to help guide her to him. And yeah, Evil Paul. Since we skip getting in here normally, all cutscenes before it as well, the cutscene that starts the sequence with Lisa doesn't happen, so it not only saves time on cutscenes, but you have to escort her through this dungeon normally. And yes, that is the word escort. There is an escort mission in this game. It sucks because she cannot sprint, which means I have to dodge roll through the dungeon. But as you can see, I'm sprinting because she's not here with me. There we go. Good luck there. These enemies are unpredictable. If they get too close to this chest, I can't open it. Yeah, escorting is awful. Thankfully, we don't have to. It's also really funny where they put her. if you skip through this dungeon.
Leave everything to me.
Switch to Frida because she has the fastest dodge roll and gets through here about a second faster than my other two characters. So I picked up a sword a little bit ago. That's the third best sword you can give to Adol, but it's the most important piece of equipment in the entire run, because without it I would not be able to do the last two bosses nearly as fast. So once again, we're catapulting our way through the door. So I need to get this warp. Now, I can't actually start the boss fight of this dungeon because the cutscene that's supposed to play before him hasn't happened. But we conveniently left behind a certain bee that works as a boss to set the game to the boss state. I also picked up a power ring to give Adol 20% strength. And now we're on Salt Galba 2, effectively the final fight of the run. Or at least the final fight that's any difficult. I died in here on my PB, so I kind of don't want to do that again. So now he's going to get on his hands, and then we can hit his head. Conveniently, he's going to do a stomp now, which doesn't do damage, but you can still flash guard and flash dodge. I guard that attack. It's awful. I guess so. Okay, I'm getting really good damage output on him. Okay, that's not good. I was going to charge the laser. I really want to be behind him for. Okay, this is actually really favorable. Dang, Adol's almost dead too. Okay, this is a very close fight, but looks like we're going to be able to clutch it out. We can actually hit the head. Oh man, this could be a 104. Just barely had enough health there.
Honestly,
Okay. So sealed within Sol Galba was the ancient king of this region, and he repairs the Mask of the Moon. But we need to see our old friend the Bee one last time. Thankfully, it's a lot easier to do it from this side than the other one. Come on, buddy. You know what to do. Okay, so I set this warp point here. So this happens to be the biggest time save of the run right there. So, the very first screen of the final dungeon actually has a forced encounter that's not supposed to happen until after you beat the final dungeon, and that sets up the final escape, which leads into the final boss of the game. So we just skip the entire final dungeon by doing that, because this mob's not supposed to come until after the final boss. Well, not really the final boss, but like the final serious fight is defeated. Oh my god, these guys are splitting up as much as they can. Core Fencer's a really good skill. If I get it, it's great. If I don't, oh well. Alright. So, we get the Mask of the Sun back from the big bad in the game, but his Phantom refuses to die. So, we need to do a Lord of the Rings and throw the Mask of the Sun, which is tying all of its power to him. Throw it into a volcano. Hopefully I get really good cycles on these lava paths here. There, that's actually really favorable. So they stick Lisa in this part, which is supposed to be instead of the escort normally. So she's just there with us on the final fight of the game, just sitting there being useless as always. She also conveniently heals me, so this fight's really a joke.
Try this! No escape! I won't just take your memories. I'll take your future as well! Time to finish this!
That was mid-animation there. That attack is a little janky. Also, there's no chance of Lisa dying, so there's no worries about this part. Okay. Alright, this should be a 104. Nice, dude. Finally got a fight that didn't have a death in it. Or a run that didn't have a death in it. Alright, so time is coming up here shortly. Very last text box of the game as the screen fades to white. Yes. Some of that's the reroute. Some of that's just the, just solid execution all around. I've been wanting a sub 105 for a while. Oh, yes, dude. I guess I gotta go for a 103. Probably that was kind of set to be my goal. Like my final goal was originally 104, but the reroute and just really good underground ruins there. I could definitely push this to a. No, I can move on to another game. No, actually. The reroute should save time here. The reds here are just because I I got really bad luck on the B. Like, I've been ahead on that split by 20 seconds. I know I have over a minute to save. Like, my sum of best should be a low 102 or even a 101. Yeah, low 102. So 103, I guess, is kind of the limit for this game.